Hi everyone, it's Allison from Fathom 5 Tarot, and I'm here to do your week ahead reading. You may notice that we're already in the week ahead, but I had to be super careful this weekend because I felt like I was losing my voice, and I really rely on my voice for my job. So I just was silent all weekend, and just am trying to ease back into it today. So it's Tuesday, by the way, so we're not even on Monday. Monday I went to work and just used my voice and was silent basically for the rest of the day. Here we are. Today I'm going to use the Muse Tarot by Chris Ann. I have both the indie and the mass market versions of this deck. The mass market was just closer, easier to grab. So let's see what we have for the week. Well, maybe it'll be interesting to see if it's reflective of the last 2 days for you or not. What do we need to know? What do we need to think about? One more. Oh. Wouldn't be me if I didn't have one shuffling mishap in my video. So me. Wow. Interesting. Okay, so the first card I pulled, the suits have different names in this deck. So actually I have two majors, but it's the cups has been renamed to emotions, and the muse, because this is the Muse Tarot, this takes the place of the king. So if we are moving through the major arcana, the dominant or the ultimate figure in that particular suit becomes the muse. And in this deck, two muses right in a row. I just pulled this off the top of the deck. It wasn't part of my draw. But the muses are horizontal. So when I get with this deck a muse card, I tend to build the reading around that just because it's got a different orientation. It's a pretty dominant card. But what I pulled along with it was super interesting. So the first was the star. Look at that. And the other is the hermit. Isn't that cool? I pull the hermit a ton with this deck. I've often talked about how the hermit is one of my favorite cards. But man, the hermit and strength just fly out of this deck for me. And they're two of my favorite cards. So I'm always super happy to see them. Strength card in that deck is just stunning. But it's a really interesting deck. And it's sort of it's traditional-ish, also non-traditional. But I read it pretty intuitively. So what I get from this, obviously this week, this is going to be an emotion-heavy week where you should listen to your emotions, that you should value your emotions. And I think when we come with the king and the idea of it being a muse, right, that this should be something that inspires you this week. Emotions often feel like something we have to deal with, right? Oh, I'm feeling that, and I like that I feel this way, or I don't like that I feel this way, but how do I process that? How do I deal with it? But I think this card is a real idea of the celebration, of the inspirational part of emotions. Like, what is this leading to? How can we celebrate these emotions, even if they are emotions we don't love to have? What can they lead to, right? So if there is sorrow, does it going to lead to a change in how you deal with that relationship or how you move through something? If it's positive, that's great. What are you going to do with that emotion? How are you going to manifest the best things you can out of it? Again, being the muse, something that inspires. So this is really going to, according to these cards, are really going to guide us this week. So to dial into those emotions, pay attention to them. How can they be the muse that inspires you to move forward? The fact that I drew the star and the hermit is really interesting to me, because in particularly with this sort of collage artwork, what I see sort of happening here, both of them have rays of light right? But they both have a very different energy as cards. I see the Star came out first, and I see this as an opportunity to radiate outwards, right? So to use that emotional inspiration to go outside of yourself and to affect things outside of yourself, right? The Star has this sort of like bright, beautiful energy. And even if your emotion is not something that you're enjoying having, like, how can you draw to yourself the things that that will help you with it? They'll help you experience that emotion, process it, those kinds of things. What can you be inspired by with that emotion? And look at her eyes, like looking out, not at us, but like out into the area off of the card, what's still to come, and that radiation just from out of her being. It's so beautiful, right? That those emotions, if they're positive, put them out in the world. If they are negative, what positive things can go out into the world from those emotions? But also, contrasting, we have the Hermit, right? Still with radiating beams of light, which I find so interesting. But don't do this to the exclusion of this, right? That this is, again, I feel like I talk about balance a lot on this channel, but when you have these really big emotions, these feelings that sort of take up your mind space in your life, and just you're literally like, their cup runneth over. If we're going to bring in a Christian allusion to the 23rd song here, why not? Why not? It's Tuesday. I'm late. May as well do whatever I want. But if your emotional cup is running over, find that balance between externalizing and internalizing in order to like let it live up to what it means to be in your life. Because all these emotions are part of our lives, and they can all act as part of our inspiration, unless we tamp them down, don't deal with it. If we deny them, the things that make us happy, the things that make us sad, the things that bring us joy, the things that make us feel lonely, right? It's that self-knowledge and that understanding of where the emotions fit in your life. Once you have that self-knowledge, then those emotions can truly be a muse, right? Something that inspires you to even more in your life. So that's quite nice. Celebrate your emotions, guys. Sorry that this video was late. Really take this week to center into yourself, know what you're feeling, and know what you can do with those feelings. And hopefully I'll be back on Sunday with a full voice and ready to go with our next week ahead reading. Have a great day.